Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Soul Man Surgery this morning. This day, or today, what we are doing is we are doing our Operation Build Back. We're trying to get as many small businesses as we can to come on so that they can talk about their business, what they do, and you guys can then go on, like their page, you can invest your time with them, you can, help all of these small businesses because it's been a tough year for the small businesses. So I am going to pull up our special guest today, which is my lovely friend Danielle from Luna Life and Wellbeing. And no, she does not sell oil, because we've had somebody this morning asking, saying, is she the oil lady? And she's not.
Not me.
Your business just sounds really similar to Jane's, which is Luna Faith.
Yeah, and a lot of the work we do is kind of similar as well. We kind of have the same kind of work style as well. So
yeah, that's good. So, tell us, Danielle. Obviously, one second, just move my camera because I'm really high. You're really low, and I'm like. Tell us, how has the last year been for you in terms of your business?
Oh, well, the first few months it was non-existent because I wasn't allowed to do any treatments. It was really hard because I'd obviously been building this business up, and a lot of my clients, because they were regular, it was like you've lost a lot of contact with friends as well because they were coming so often and getting to know them. But it also helped me develop my business, because obviously not being able to do face-to-face treatments and things, I had to try and think outside the box. Well, what can I do? Because obviously I've got kids and bills, so I need some income. So I wrote a workshop on anxiety management, and I've been running that monthly, and the feedback I'm getting from it is really positive, so that's been great. I did my meditation teacher training with yourself.
Yeah.
And I've been running classes ever since, and again, I absolutely love it. And just taking that time out even to write the scripts is really good, because it just brings you back down and calms you down when you're doing the scripts, and then obviously you're getting the time out to run the class. What else have I been doing? I've just been trying to work away in the background and produce different things. I did my first group coaching with 8 women, and the feedback from that has been outstanding. Amazing to watch them on their journeys and watch them grow and develop. So yeah, it's been busy. I've been kept going, but I am definitely missing the treatment side.
And we're going to speak more about that in a wee bit as well, your coaching, because honestly, it's a brilliant thing that you're doing. And we will talk more about it in a wee while. But, if you were to have reviewed the last year and thought, right, when the pandemic hit, everybody was like, oh, it's going to be a few weeks and we'll be back to normal and we'll be back to work. At what point did you start thinking, oh my God, this isn't going away? And shit, I'm really worried.
Yeah. I think the first few weeks I was all right, because it was kind of like a holiday, wasn't it? Everybody was just off, and it was like, oh, this is nice, just to kind of get some time off and play with the kids and things. And I think when they said that the schools weren't going back, it was like, how am I meant to work if I've got the kids here? Because I'm sure at some point today they'll probably make an appearance, and you can't have that when you've got treatments. And then it was like, I'm not going to be able to do treatments. And then it's like, right, okay, what am I going to do? Because I like to be busy. I'm not very good at sitting still. I thought, oh no. And then obviously we got told we could reopen, we had to buy all this PPE in, we had to do all these extra courses on making sure with cleanliness, the hygiene, everything up to standards. So you spent a fortune getting the thermometer guns, all our PPE, and then was it 3 weeks later they're like, you have to close again. It was like, here we go again. And at that point I thought, right, I need to do something. And that's when I started kind of.
I think that part of it, Danielle, isn't it? That part of it was so hard for small businesses because, I know as well, because obviously we had to buy PPE for the shop and it wasn't cheap. It was expensive. I think the sneeze screens that we got alone were like nearly £600. The divider screens between,
Yeah.
sanitizing products, the guns, the guns, that sounds terrible, but the temperature gun, expensive. And
Yeah.
then before we knew it, it was like, right, okay, we're locked down again and spent all that money on all that stuff.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I hadn't been open long enough to receive any of the grants either, so this was all coming out of my own pocket, which
Yeah.
was quite scary because it was like, right, okay, how are we going to manage the bills? How are we going to manage, like, just to be able to live kind of day to day? I know we obviously can't go anywhere, so we're saving money in that sense, but we still a bit of a worry, yeah.
hmm And your business as well. You work from home, don't you? And you've got your spaces outside, isn't it? It's in your garden, or
No,
is it?
no. So I used to have a room at the back of the house. So since the second lockdown, because obviously there was a lot of restrictions of because people were coming into my house and they couldn't come straight into a treatment room, they had to go through part of the house to get to my treatment room. I was restricted to maximum of 2 people a day when I did reopen because obviously they're coming into my house. So we've done a bit of redesigning and we've flipped my house. So my treatment room's now at the front of the house when I reopen. So I'll be able to have, well, depending on, we've not actually released the restrictions yet for us, but I should be able to have more than 2 a day because they're just in and out rather than coming through the house. So yeah, we've been busy doing a bit of DIY and it's finally done.
David's loved you through this whole process. Eh?
It's one of those, we flipped the rooms and I was like that, should we just paint the hall? Should we do this? Should we do that? He's like that.
It's really hard though, hasn't it? And I think for you guys that are running your small businesses from home and haven't had access to the grants that have been available, that's been so much harder for the small businesses that are working so hard from their places of where they live. Um, and I have to say, like, I feel so bad for the small businesses that have had to do that, like yourself.
Yeah, I actually know quite a few people that have decided they're not going back to do their kind of their therapy side of their business because the restrictions that have been put in, the time you need to leave between people coming through your door, the fact that you need to do all our consultations have to be done online. So GDPR, I'm a bit paranoid about sending emails with content and things in them. So I phone my clients beforehand and do it all over the phone that way. And it takes up a lot more time. And I don't want to put my prices up because I want to make sure they're still affordable for people to come to. So yeah, for a lot of people, financially, they're just saying they can't reopen. So they're had to look for other things to do, which is sad because it was a job that they all loved.
I know, it's heartbreaking. I was speaking to a good friend the other day, and they've just closed their business down. And they had premises. They were trading for 2 years, absolutely loving what they were doing. They were so busy. The pandemic hit, and obviously, that business. Not to share all their financial stuff, but I'd done a wee bit of business coaching with them, and before the pandemic happened, their earnings were about £14,000 a week because they were a salon, a hairdresser, so they had constant people coming through their doors. They were always really busy. And then what happened is £14,000 a week, isn't it right? It's £14,000 a month, sorry. But even at that, with the government grants and everything that they were getting, they still weren't able to keep their business open because they had things like, they were hiring chairs, they were hiring equipment, they were, their insurances, all of that stuff, and it's just completely disabled their business, and now they're not able to open ever again.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. We were quite lucky that we obviously managed to live off David's wage and pay all the bills and stuff. Obviously, we've cut back and everything else, but we've managed to survive. And because I work from home, I didn't have all the outlays, which I'm very grateful for. So that's why I'm still here and still rearing to open again. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed the dates will go ahead.
I know. It's really funny because when this time last year, I'd obviously left my job with Slimming World, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" like, I'm leaving my job in the middle of a pandemic. However, my wife's been supporting me, and it's been great for the first time for the first time ever in our lives. Nikki's like, she pays the shopping bill, she pays like all of the stuff that I would have normally paid. And I'm like, I could get used to this, I could really get used to not paying all the bills. So, yeah, it's quite funny.
I think as well, lockdown is really gonna help people realise what their priorities are. Like, I think before we were all stuck in that hamster wheel, weren't we? We have to work, we have to earn, we have to do this, we have to. And then the pandemic's kind of stopped us on our tracks and thought, is this what we want? Like, do you want to get back on that hamster wheel and just be like working for a living? Or do you want to enjoy life again?
Nobody does. I think everybody's really reviewing what they're doing. I know I have personally. I was doing our rota for back to work, and because we're going to start trading 7 days now, I'm thinking I can't work 7 days. That's not right. So I'm actually giving myself 2 days off during the week, and I'm like, yes.
What am I going to do with my time?
I know. Kids will be at school. Anyway, but I think you're right. People are really reevaluating life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because before the pandemic, I mean, I used to work in the evening, so some nights I was still working at 9 o'clock at night. And because I was in that rat race, I was just used to it, and that's what I did. But having the evenings back to myself, I've actually quite enjoyed having like time to go and sit in a nice bath and relax, or read a book that I hadn't done for years. And it showed me that I don't want to go back to working like every night of the week again. I want some time for me. So
yeah, it's going to be very different, I think, when everybody properly goes back. But I think there's that worry and that concern that people might just fall back into old habits again and just, fall back onto the hamster wheel, so to speak. So, and do you think as well, Danielle, that when people come back, or when they move forward into this new phase of life, because I know for sure that people are going to want treatments. People are going to want to come for a massage or come for some Reiki or whatever that may be. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that you're going to be busier than you've ever been? Or do you think...
I mean, when the last announcement was made about the hairdressers and things opening up on the 5th of April, I was inundated with people getting in touch asking, are you opening on the 5th? Are you opening on the 5th? And I was like, no, I'm not opening until the end. But because they've not actually gave us a definite of what our restrictions are going to be, I'm assuming that it's going to go back to what it was before the last lockdown. So it'll be we're going to a tier 3 and it'll be the same, but that's not guaranteed. So I've held off opening up my diary until I find out, because the last thing I want to do is people book in for a treatment and have to phone them and say, actually, I've just heard I'm not allowed to offer that at the moment.
Yeah. I think it will be very different, though. I do think it'll be very different this time round.
I think a lot of people have had the time to do a bit more self-care and a bit more me time. Like, they've got out walking more to get out of the house. They've had time for, like, so myself, going for a bath and actually enjoying it rather than it just being a quick washing out, you get and going with your day and things. So I'm hopeful that people have realised the benefit of doing a lot of the self-care and having some time to themselves, that they will want to come back for treatments. Yeah. I mean, you know yourself, Stephen, after you've had a treatment, the effects last for a good few days. You just feel like, oh, this is great.
I can't wait. Honestly, I cannot wait to be able to book in and say, right, okay, I'm going to book in for a nice back, neck and shoulder massage. Maybe just ask you to do a bit of head massage as well, because see when you're having your head massage, when you're doing on the table and they're on your neck and shoulder, it's just, you can't beat it, can you?
When I offer Monday and head massages, actually, I get more men booking in for that than I do women.
Yeah. Honestly, it's the best thing in the world. I don't know why. I don't know if men are more like Labradors, they like their heads being played with, or no. I don't know what it is, but...
Did you just say men are like dogs?
Yeah. I'm sure every man watching will agree with me. We are like dogs, but we like to be petted. I think when you're having an Indian head massage, it's just the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah.
because it just
To be
drains
fair,
away all that stress.
that's it. That is it. It's the amount of stress that, and I think men don't tend to go for facials. It's more women. But the amount of tension you actually hold in your face is unbelievable. So women will come for the facials and get all the tension released, whereas men will come for the Indian head massage because you actually do a bit of work on the face. But it doesn't sound as girly as going for a facial.
I think it's actually more men having facials is actually more common now than it ever was. You know,
Definitely.
I get a facial once a month from the beauty place just across from the shop, and it was she actually said to me, she was like, Stephen, come in for a facial. And I was like, no way, I'm not getting that done. Honestly, see, when I had it done, I was like, oh my God, this feels amazing.
Because you just don't realise that what you're holding on to, and you're like, if
Yeah,
you've got a headache, you'll automatically kind of rub the sides of your head because it helps to release tension. It's like if you've got a sore neck then, and the first thing you'll do is put your hand up and give it a rub. So you're kind of already giving yourself a massage, but obviously when someone else is doing it, you can actually just go and enjoy it.
yeah, absolutely. It's so good, honestly. I think that's something that you need to put on your books, a facial for men.
Yeah.
Or you could do, because if you've got guys coming in for an Indian head massage, you could say, like, I'm doing an offer where I'm doing Indian head and facial.
Yeah. I mean, when a guy comes and has a facial, like you're saying, they'd love it, but it's just that initial, like, I'm not booking him for that. Kind of like what you probably thought when the girl said she'd go for one.
I know, and honestly, it's the best thing I've ever done. I was like, I'm getting one of them every single month, no matter what. See my skin after it, I was like, oh, whoa, my
It's so
skin's
good for
glowing.
your skin, getting all that exfoliation and things, getting rid of all the dead skin cells. And when you're doing like the facial stuff as well, because you're bringing the blood flow back to the surface of the skin, your blood's bringing all the nutrients and oxygen, so it's kind of giving you that healthy glow again, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I'm an imperial leather kind of guy. Like I'm just like cold water, poof, done. um, it's funny though how that treatment can completely change how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think as well that when people come in for treatments, you see them coming in looking tired and feeling blah, and then they walk out
Mm-hmm.
like
They
you say,
levitate out. They're levitating. They're like, oh, I'm so good. The rest people are like, can I just stay? Can you just leave me here for the next hour? And I wish I could, because they're just in such a state of bliss.
it's
And the
great.
thing is, when you feel like that, you then leave and you go home, and because you're in a calmer state, everybody else kind of around you starts to calm as well. So it's that kind of ripple effect of
Yeah, we spoke about this lots with Susan actually. That anxiety it's infectious. So or stress is infectious, or like being pissed off is infectious.
yeah,
So if you're able to then infect your family with that calm, chilled demeanor, then that's a good thing.
definitely. Because what I've found as well, obviously being at home with the kids 24/7, it takes its toll at times, and you can get a little bit irritated and feel a bit snappy. So I've found that I'll just take myself off for a bath and just give myself half an hour away from them all in a nice hot relaxing bath. And when I come back down, I'm much calmer, so I can then calm them back down. Whereas before I would have just been like,
So you, in effect, you're self-regulating yourself. You're taking yourself out of
taking
that and
yourself
doing what
away.
you need to do. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and your coaching. Because I want to speak about that. So I'll try and bring up the banner. I don't know why this isn't working for you. Ah, there it is. Ah, your 5-day coaching.
Yes.
So tell me about this. This is something that you're doing, Danielle, and I have to say, like, I am so excited for you because it's something that you're doing and you're giving this away for free, which is just phenomenal. I have to say. So your 5-day coaching, what is it all about?
So when you say life coaching to people or kind of energy coaching or intuitive coaching, everyone kind of goes, what's that all about? So I just want to be like people to come along, tap into it, see what it is about, see the benefits they can get from it, and then make a decision of whether they think it's for them or not. Because I think too often we say, oh, I'm not into that, or I'm not trying that, without actually knowing anything about it. I think that's kind of the nature we're all in. So yeah, it's just to give people a wee introduction to what's out there. I mean, if they decide at the end of the day it's not for them, that's absolutely fine. They might decide it is for them, but not with me, and that's fine. But I just want people to know what's available.
That's brilliant. And coaching, it's not about you giving people the answers either, because that a lot of people have got this big misconception about coaching. And they think that they're going to come to someone and they're going to give them all the answers, but it's more about you being able to help them facilitate change within themselves, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, for example, one of the girls that I've done coaching with recently, she thought her weight was an issue. Like, it was, everything was down to her weight, and she couldn't lose weight. And after we'd done the 6 weeks of the coaching, she was like, do you know, my weight doesn't actually bother me. It's X, Y, and Z that I've now learned. I'm using my weight as a kind of a screen, so I don't actually have to take this mask off and look at what it is. So it's not what people expect it to be, is what I think.
You always find that though, don't you? That people come thinking one thing and then they walk away thinking like, that's not my issue at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another big one is people look at the relationships and say, oh, we don't get on because we're always fighting over money. But then when you look at their relationship with money rather than their relationship with a partner, it says a lot about what they feel about their own self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of opening doors and asking questions to dig a little bit deeper. And it does, some of the questions can make people feel a bit uncomfortable, but I think you need to be pushed out your comfort zone to be able to learn about yourself and to be able to grow and develop.
Absolutely. Because if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
So true, isn't it? We need to feel uncomfortable to grow. We need to feel uncomfortable to... Because if it was all like, hi Danielle, that's really nice, and hi, I'm alright, and life's nice, and you're just existing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, we do a bit of digging. So, like, something that you might find really annoying, well, why does it annoy you? And we want to get behind why that's annoying you. What's your belief around that? And can we change that to make it work for you? So rather than hiding from our shadows, we're shining a light on them to face the fears and be able to move on from them.
And when you speak about shadows, are you talking about that like that darker side of people that people don't necessarily look at?
I think we all wear masks, don't we? Like, I know for myself, I wore a mask for, oh my goodness, years, probably about 9 years, that everything was okay. And when I actually took the mask off, I thought, I haven't properly grieved for my dad when he passed away, because at the time that he passed, I was making sure my mum and my sister and everything else was all right. And I was at uni, and at uni, they basically told me if I took a week off, because my dad, from the last day that I was at uni, my dad took his heart attack and ended up in hospital. So the 3 weeks I had off of uni, it was all been in intensive care every day with my dad. Obviously, he passed away. We obviously had his funeral, and then I had to go back to uni like a week later. And I was told that if I took any more time off, I'd have to repeat the whole year. So I was like, right, okay, so you kind of put the grief to the back, because I didn't want to have to repeat a year of uni. I got on with it, and then obviously I got married, then I had kids and bought houses, and I thought, you know, I've never opened this box of grief to be able to deal with it. So a lot of people, something happens and you shut that box and you put it to the side, but it's there, and you know it's there, and until you can open that box and deal with it, it's not going away.
That's a huge, big, massive thing that I think every single person on the planet does. They have many boxes inside their mind and they've actually not properly dealt with them. And you know what's interesting is I had a session on Sunday. In that session, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It was a hypnotherapy session, and there was part of it, and it was with Susan. Part of it was opening up my mind and looking at what I was storing, and and I'll share with you because I think it's important to share with you. But I did not realise this, right? But I am there's part of me that is terrified, absolutely terrified of getting unwell. And when we really opened it all up, it was because my mum and my sister had both had cancer at the time. So they had both went through this terrible illness of cancer, and I'm like the bystander that's supporting them and helping them through it. And then my granddad died of cancer a year after they had got over it. And then my granny had like 20 heart attacks in a year, and then she passed last year. So there's this like huge big thing inside me that I never realised I had, that I was terrified, absolutely terrified of getting cancer.
Mhm.
And I didn't realise it until I'd opened the boxes inside my mind. So it's exactly the same thing. Mine was a bit more deep rooted, I suppose, because I'd stored it away for years and years and years. But it's exactly the same thing as you're doing. You're getting people to look inside and pull out whatever it is that's going on.
Yeah. And a lot of things that can stem from childhood. Like a lot of people, when they look back at why they've got such low self-worth, it could be somebody called them stupid when they were younger, and it's like they've held on to this, and then if things go wrong, they're like, oh, it's because I'm stupid. It's because I'm stupid. And I don't want to go too sciencey here, but the neural pathways in our brain get strengthened the more we say or think something. So if you're saying that daily to yourself for 20, 30 years, that's what's going to be at the forefront of your head, that you believe you are stupid. So it's about looking at what people's beliefs are and how long they've had them, and then trying to flip it so that they then start to say, I'm actually really clever because I might not have got the exams at school, but I've done X, Y, Z, I've got a qualification in this, I've completed this, and getting them to recognise what their achievements have been and putting that as their new pathway, their neural pathway, that they are good, they are brave, they are clever, they have done this. And the more that they start to say it and believe it, and we can do this through things like affirmations, daily affirmations, they then start to believe that, and that becomes their truth.
So through that 5-day coaching, you do that then?
The 5-day coaching, what I'm doing is just a wee kind of small introduction into different things that we would look at more depth in if we were doing coaching, either one-to-one or after doing the group coaching and it being so successful, I'm going to offer another group coaching, because I feel the group coaching is quite good, because when we're doing coaching, obviously we look at things from different perceptions. So when you're doing that as a group, as a whole, it's really interesting because you're getting other people's perceptions, so it can help you kind of relate to it and see other things from a different point of view, rather than trying to see it from a different point of view through your own eyes, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the accountability as well, because I mean, I can give you as many tools as I can, but unless you're willing to put the work in and actually use the tools and find out what ones are going to work for you and then continue to use them, it's like showing up but not doing the work, so it's not going to benefit you.
Yeah, exactly. And do you think that, I know your background as well as in mental health nurse, you are a trained mental health nurse. Do you think that, you draw upon all your expertise and your learning in that field to really help people?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I was obviously well-being's been a big part of everything I've done ever since I've done my training. Even before that, the jobs I've had in the past, it's always been around kind of helping and supporting other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can hear my kids. Hope you can't. So where was I going with this? What was I talking about there? Sorry, I got really distracted.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to come in.
Your jobs are all about helping people.
Yeah. So it's always been a big part of what I do, and looking after your own well-being and other people's well-being and things, and giving them tools to do this. So when I came out in mental health nursing, I missed that. I missed like supporting people on their journey and watching them come in and watching them grow, develop, having their aha moments, and then leaving like.
Lost your sound.
Am I back?
Put you back, yeah.
Right, sorry. So it was, I missed seeing people on that journey. So that's why I decided to go and do the life coaching. so it's added to my skills from my mental health. It's
Yeah.
given me the extra tools to use to be able to support people. So
maybe a bit of a personal question, but what made you come away from mental health nursing? Feel free
um,
not to answer if you don't want to.
no. At the time, I wanted to work with young people. I felt the younger, like, prevention is better than cure for me. So I thought if we can go in at a younger age and try and give them the tools and the things that they need at a younger age, then they wouldn't get to as severely mental ill as a lot of adults get to, because they've not had this. So they then start to believe this is the only way they can live, and they've got all those negative beliefs. So if we can get in at a younger age and try and stop that from happening, then they're going to be healthier adults.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no jobs within CAMHS at the time. So I went to work for a children's charity and worked with teenagers. So I ended up doing a lot of work within the schools on anxiety management and things. And I loved it. I really did. I enjoyed working with the teenagers. They are more challenging. They do put up more barriers than a lot of adults, because as an adult you decide you want the help, so you go for it, whereas children are still a bit like, I'm fine, everyone's fine. And I think it was just so powerful watching them actually going, okay, I do want the help, or them noticing the difference after working with them for a few weeks.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to find it, because I was speaking to someone the other day. I'm sure it was in the Soul Man Surgery. And I'm sure it was a quote. I can't even remember what the quote was, which was really, really bad. It's easier to work with a child than it is to repair an adult, or it's easier to give a child the tools to self-repair than it is to repair an adult. So that's really made me think there that if we can give children the tools to self-regulate and to help themselves when they're young, they then become calmer adults, stress-free adults, or adults when they're going through a stressful situation. They've got the tools there that they need to self-regulate and get themselves back to a happier, healthier mental state.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're trying to do there, which is amazing. We need you in a wee army of people helping as many children as we can.
No, definitely. And there's more help out there now for teenagers, but a lot of the youth clubs and things were the first to lose their funding.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, where can the young people go to get that initial help? Because my job when I first started with the children's charity, it was a drop-in, so the kids could just come along, get a game of pool, have a chat, and it'd be them getting to know you, because they need to learn to trust you more. Like, I think adults say, all right, you're a professional, I can trust you, whereas kids are a bit like, who are you and why do you want to help me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's building that initial trust with them, and then through getting to know them and them getting to know us, they would start to open up, and it would just be like they would drop wee nuggets every so often, and then you'd start to kind of build a picture, and then they'd eventually just go blah and just give it all. Whereas they changed all that because the funding changed, so they couldn't offer that service, and then it was appointment only, then it had to be referral, and it was just, it wasn't the same job that I went into. And that's when I thought, no, this isn't for me now. I don't want children to feel that they have to fill paperwork to be able to get help. I don't want them to feel that there's not that support freely for them if they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I decided, I'm going to look at more the well-being side of things, doing like my treatments and stuff. But I did miss the kind of the journey and the one-to-one work and stuff. So hence the reason I added life coaching to it.
And you are as well, obviously, as part of your meditation teacher training, you can work with vulnerable groups as well. You can work with children. So and Danielle is particularly interested in working in schools with meditation as well. So, I know I've got a few friends that are school teachers who actually watch this quite regularly. So if you guys are looking at bringing meditation into your schools, send me a wee message and I'll hook you up with Danielle. Because I do meditation in schools, but I'm just me. I can't, we can't have a a bigger effect. So we need more people helping in schools and helping children in schools, you know. So send me a message and I'll hook you up with Danielle and a couple of the other guys that have done the meditation teacher training for working with children as well, which is great. Um, and is that something, Danielle, that you're really passionate about as well? You know, like, because I know you are, but I'm just asking for the sake of the interview. Um, is it something that you think can help children, meditation?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, even myself, the reason I decided to do the meditation teacher training was because I had such a monkey mind. Like, I couldn't sit still. I was doing 5 jobs at once. Like, I was getting lost in everything. I was getting stressed out. And I wanted to be able to learn how to quiet my mind. And obviously, I was doing the meditations, but I was still having a bit of a monkey mind wandering. So that's why I wanted to sign up to learn how, if I could teach other people to quiet their mind, then I could teach myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it totally worked for me. It's totally worked for me. And I know that the people that are coming along to my class just now are finding it works. I've tried it with my children, and like they're only 6 and 3, so it's very short, 5 minutes, but it's still 5 minutes of them sitting, calming, and just learning how to do that. Because the younger age we can do it, then we stop letting things build up. We go, right, stop, enough's enough. We deal with what we need to deal with. I like post-it notes and writing lists. Like, if I've got so much going on in my head and I feel myself getting worked up and stressed out, I'll now write it all down. It's out my head then, and then I can focus on one thing at a time rather than having it all up here going, right, what am I doing? Where am I going? What am I focusing on? So I think if we can teach it at a young age, then by the time they're adults, they'll just be like more laid back, there'll be less stress, there'll be less aggression.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Like, see if in those very early years of school time we could teach children, you know, even nursery, because I've worked with some nursery children as well, and you know, meditation, it's not something everybody thinks that it's having the kids like this, you know, like sitting there home. But it's not. It's just being aware of themselves, of their space, of their body, of their mind. Breathing, I think, is the most important thing, because you know, kids, I find that about 3 years old, they start breathing in a different way.
They stop the belly breathing, don't they? Because when
Yeah,
we're babies, if you watch a baby breathing, it's all in the stomach, so you'll see their stomach rising and falling.
yeah,
But as we're growing up, we lose that and we start to breathe more through our chest. And the more we do that, the more we're causing anxiety. And so it's
yeah.
about learning how to breathe properly again, or taking it back to like our baby breathing.
And we speak a lot about it in the meditation two training, where you know when people are breathing from the chest, they're then starting to use the muscles in the neck and the top of the chest, which then causes stress and pain, and that's when you get nice clients because well, like in a way, Daniel, what you're saying is you didn't really want people to stop breathing from up here, do you?
No, I do. Because when they come to me and they're all tense, it's really sore on my fingers trying to get all those knots out. Whereas if they come to me and they've not got the knots, then they get a nicer treatment and I don't have the sore fingers at the end of the day. So
I know people don't realise how hard it is though doing massage, do they? You know, like
yeah.
they come along and they're like, "Oh, this is great! It's a great feeling," and then the person that's delivering it's like, "I'm knackered after that."
It is. It's a very physical job.
Yeah,
And I think as well, when people come in, they do tend to offload, so it can be emotionally draining as well. So if
hmm
you don't know how to look after yourself, obviously I've had all my training throughout my years of mental health nursing and things, so I know how to kind of deal with the emotions and things that people are feeding me. So I know how to switch off from that and not take it on personally. Whereas I think a lot of people, they take it on themselves and then it weighs them down and they're physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually drained. And that's when people become unwell and have to take time off. So yeah, it's really important if you're not trained on how to do that, make sure you've got your barriers up to protect yourself and protect your own energy, because it can be really draining.
I think that's a huge, big topic, though. You know, and it's something I think that is actually lacking for people that work with vulnerable people because it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of wanting to help people and pass on that message of like, listen, it's all about giving, giving, giving. but actually, a really good therapist, counselor, worker, spiritual person, whatever you want to call yourself, the really good ones are the ones who take a lot of time to look after themselves as well. Would you agree?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, obviously I've within the mental health nursing, I'm trained to deal with like trauma and things like that as well. But that's not my role now. So
Mhm.
even when I'd done the last lot of coaching and was working with someone, we took it back, and it's a lot of trauma from their childhood. So I've then shared other, like, signposted them on to other therapists who that is their core training and what they do now.
Mhm.
So I'm quite happy to say, do you know what? This isn't my role anymore. So I'm going to give you these details, and it's up to you if you want to do the work or not. And I
Mhm.
think it's important that we don't, because it's so easy to go, oh, Stephen, do you know what? I'll do that for you to help you. But then how's that benefiting you long term if I'm doing it for you? It's about giving you
Yeah.
the tools and showing you how to do it so that you can then take it away and you know how to do it going forward.
Mhm. I always think as well, like see the word mental health. It's such a saturated word nowadays, though, isn't it? Like it's so overused, I suppose. People will say, I've heard people using flippantly the words like, "Oh, I've got poor mental health." So I think that sometimes the wording around that needs to be, like, so my emotional well being's not great right now, but I'm working through that, rather than this, oh, I've got bad mental health, I need help.
Yeah. And there's
Would you
also,
agree?
I still feel there's still a lot of stigma around it. I mean, there's a lot of people that will just on Facebook or social media and blurt out exactly what's going on. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like, they're just going, oh, it's my mental health, it's my mental health. But then there's the other side of the coin where people are going, I can't tell anybody because what if they think I need locked up, or what if they like think I can't cope with my children, or what if they think I can't cope with this? And it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, if you hurt your arm, you'd go to the doctor and get it checked out. So it should be that if you are struggling, you should feel that you can go and speak to somebody and get the support you need. I still feel there's a lot of people that shy away from saying that they don't feel okay, whereas they should feel it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like,
We
reach
were,
out.
we were actually speaking about this in the training that I'd done recently. So I'd done the mental health first aid training with the lovely June, and we were talking about how the mind and the body are seen as two separate entities. So we've got our emotional health and we've got our physical health. If you cut your wrist with a razor when you were, fitting your carpet or whatever, you would go straight to A&E with a bandage, holding pressure on it, and get that seen to. But when our emotional well being's not right, we don't do the same, and it's something that we really should do. We should be seeking help and support for that part of things.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's still a lot of shame around, especially people if they're self-harming. Like, I know a lot of adults that self-harm, and it could be through drink, drugs. It might be that they're cutting, and that is their coping mechanism. And if they're then made to feel shame because they're doing that to cope, then that just heightens the reasons that they're doing it and why they're doing it. Whereas I don't feel anybody should feel shamed for trying to cope with things themselves. It's about helping them learn other healthier strategies for coping.
Absolutely. I've worked with a few people in the past that feel like, so one nicest guy in the world, but he was completely addicted to cocaine. He would take cocaine, and that was his coping strategy. But he was so ashamed of it, Danielle. He was like, "I'm just a junkie," and I'm like, "You're not a junkie. You're using that as your coping strategy. You're using that as your way of getting through. However, it's getting to the point now when it's no good for you. So you need to get your help with that." And since then, he's been like 3 years and he's not had one bit of cocaine. And he's a much better person as a result of it because he actually took charge of that. And, you know, now his coping strategy is breathing, meditation, mindfulness. He has regular visits to a Reiki therapist in Falkirk. So he has like loads of stuff that he uses now instead of that thing.
Yeah.
And it's a game changer.
Definitely. Like when I worked with the addictions team, it totally changed my view of addictions. I think when you're younger, you're taught, well, they use drugs because they fell in with the wrong crowd. And 90% of the time, they're self-medicating. They're trying to block out a trauma from the past. And yeah, obviously there are some people that do just fall into the wrong crowd and try it, like it, and get addicted to it. But 9 times out of 10, there's a reason for people that are drinking or taking drugs. Same as if they were cutting or hair pulling or whatever their method of self-harm may be. And it's because it goes back to a trauma. So it's about supporting them to find out what the trauma was so that they can then heal from the trauma, accept it, move on from it, and find other healthier coping strategies for moving forward.
Yeah. I know we've kind of went down a mental health rabbit hole today, haven't we? But I suppose it makes absolute sense because, we're really big on helping people in that area, but equally your business is very centered around helping people like that. So, it's well-being. So it's important that we speak about it.
Definitely.
And do you think, Danielle, what is your biggest, so the clients that you have coming through your doors, do you find that you have people that are more spiritually minded, or do you have people that are, just your everyday accountants, Morrison's checkout workers, like normal everyday people, or are they more spiritually minded people?
I think I've got quite a mixed bag that come in. Even the fact that I see quite a few male clients as well, whereas obviously I've thought it would be kind of all female. I didn't really expect any men to come along, but obviously I would say definitely a mixed bag. I think people who come for like Reiki and crystal healings and things are more kind of spiritual minded, whereas the kind of physical treatments, everybody feels stress, everybody feels tension and sore and wants a relief. Some people just want time out their own house away from their kids, and they come in and it's the atmosphere that I've got in this room with the candles and the lighting and things. It's just, they walk in and you can just see them going, oh, it's so nice in here. And it's like, okay, now I'm going to make you feel really good because I'm going to actually do the work. So yeah, it's a real mix that comes through the door, which is nice. I'm glad. I prefer the variety.
And when we go back to the whole emotional and mental health thing, do you think that people who work in a spiritual capacity, do you think that those people need more help than your everyday normal people?
I think people have started a journey at looking at themselves when they start to become more spiritual. So they are looking at what's going on in their life. Are they happy with what's going on? What changes could they make? What else is out there that could support them? Because obviously whatever they're doing isn't working for them. So they start to look for other things. And I think that's when you become a bit more spiritual. Mm-hmm. And I think there's still a big confusion between spiritual and religion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what the danger for me is, though, that see when people start to open up and when they start to tap into that side of them, that's that very energy sensitive person that we all are, that we kind of forget about. When you start to open up to that sensitivity of energy and other people's energy, it can have quite a detrimental effect on your well-being if you don't have these self-care measures in place. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. Because you're taking on all their emotion, you're taking on their trauma. If you don't know how to switch that off when you go home at night, you're taking all that home with you. Mm-hmm. You're waking up during the night, you're going to be thinking about X, Y, and Z and how you could have supported them. Did you do it right? Did you say the right things? And then that's you're still working when you should be sleeping. You're still working when you should be with your family. So it's really important that you do know how to switch off. And if you don't know how to switch off, either learn how to do it or learn where you need to say, right, okay, this is beyond my field of expertise and I need to signpost you on to somebody else who's going to be able to deal with that now.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to be able to help, but you need to look after yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't, you're going to be the one that ends up ill.
Yeah. It's a tough one. And I think that, people like yourself that are out there and are helping and supporting people emotionally, also physically, so that they're getting like added layers when they work with you, because they're getting your expertise in the field of emotional and mental health. And then they're also getting your expertise in the fact that they're getting all that crap removed from their body.
Yeah.
So I love that. So what services do you do, Danielle? Share with us, because like we've obviously spoke about like the stuff that you've been doing out with lockdown, but then when we're talking about like if I was coming to Luna Life and Wellbeing for a treatment, what do you offer? What's your list of services?
All right. So I do quite a bit these days. So obviously we spoke about Indian head, so that's kind of working in the scalp, the neck and the shoulders, and the face. So we're doing like acupressure, massage. We also, which really surprised people, is when you're working around and massaging the ears. Like people are, I can't believe how good it feels when you're actually like, that was amazing.
I love it.
And again, you'll probably see when people are tired that they tend to play with their ears and things, like especially young kids, they'll kind of pull at their ears and things like that. And there's like reflexology of the ears. I don't do that, but it is a thing. So when you're pressing on points of the ears, it's really relaxing. So yeah, as I say, and with Indian head, it can help to promote hair growth as well, because obviously you're doing all the circular motions in the scalp, so it can give you a healthier scalp and hair.
Doesn't it work? I tried it for years.
I don't know, Stephen, your hair's looking great.
My hair's looking great, but my hair's not really my hair.
Oh, brilliant. I do hoppy ear candling, so that's when you kind of get it's like it looks more like a kind of cone than it's a candle. I think a lot of people think they're coming for a hoppy ear candle and they're going to be sitting with two candles sticking out their ears, a bit like Shrek. So it's a normally used beeswax and essential oils it's like a cone, so it's just lit, and as it burns down, it's kind of causing a vacuum in the ear to kind of clean out along the sinuses in the ear. And it's really nice, and actually it's really relaxing treatment to give, because I'm just sitting watching this nice flame burning away. And when you've got the candle in your ear, you hear like kind of crackling noises, so it sounds a bit like listening to a real fire, that kind of meditative state you go into. So most people that come in find it really relaxing, and it's a really relaxing treatment to give, as I said. And because it's...
Sorry, Danielle, see to add value to that and just to ask this question, because like I know the answer to this, right? And you know the answer to this, but so many people I've seen on TikTok, on Facebook, where people are saying, in hoppy ear candling, what a load of rubbish it is. That's not the wax, because people think that all the wax from inside your ear is drawn up into the end of the flute, and it's not the case. The wax is the result of the burning wax that's going down, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's it's very controversial. So a lot of people say you shouldn't put anything in your ear smaller than your elbow. Other people say this is really good because it can help clear it out. Basically what it's doing is like same as massaging things, it's removing the toxins from the body. Now, whether that is earwax or whether it's the candle wax, I'm not 100% sure, if I'm being honest, because there's different amounts, and every candle you open is different amounts. So if it is the wax from the candle, then surely it would be the same amount every time you're burning it, because you're burning the same amount every time. So yeah, it's very controversial, and I mean, you can go out, you can research it. Like every treatment, you research everything you do. But you're removing toxins, and I've worked with people who have had blocked sinuses and have said after it that they felt much clearer. The same with Indian head massage as well. I've worked with somebody and they said the next day they woke up, they blew their nose, and it was like it was never going to end. And then afterwards they felt like it was like their whole head had been emptied. Like it was so clear. And so whatever you're doing, you're loosening things, you're moving things, there's toxins being released from the body. Hence the reason we say always drink plenty of water after any treatment, because you're dehydrating the body as you're working with it. So yeah, it's controversial out there. Like, and you also get navel candling, so it's like the same kind of style of candle you get for your ear, but you put in the belly button, And again, a lot of people get the benefit from it because it can help like constipation, it can help with things like Crohn's and IBS. But what is it actually doing? There's not enough science research being done on a lot of these things.
Yeah, because your Ambulica, that is the source of nutrients for the body. That's what, when you were in the womb, that was your inlet into your body, wasn't it? So it's interesting.
Yeah, because as you do a bit of research on your belly button, there's things like if you're struggling with period cramps, you can put in like pour some bourbon into your belly button, and it can help release the cramps.
Yeah.
Things like putting lemon juice into your belly button can help with different things. So research, honestly, it's fascinating.
Yeah. One of my friends is an aromatherapist, and she does a lot of work with oil in the belly button. She's like, she's one of these people where she's like, never drink or put oil inside your body. Use your belly button, because that's like your wee funnel. So yeah, she always thinks that essential oil in the belly button can be the cure for anything.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, well, that's how you were fed when you were a fetus, weren't you? That's how
Yeah,
right into you. So yeah,
it's amazing.
it's fascinating. I also offer a warm bamboo treatment. So that's using bamboo sticks. Obviously, they're hot, so as soon as the heat touches the body, the kind of muscles start to relax anyway, and then you can use the movements of the bamboo to get deeper into the muscles. So,
Oh, I like that. I didn't know you'd done that.
yes. So that's a really nice treatment, especially if you like deeper work, because you can use the ends of the sticks and things to put into pressure points in the body. So that's a really nice treatment.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Reiki, so you know yourself, that's all about channeling positive energy into the body and helping it move through the body. Crystal healing, you're using the crystals to absorb kind of negative energy and moving the energy. That's a new one that I'm opening up to do. I managed to do the training during the lockdown break. I'd done all the kind of theory for it, and I managed to do the hands-on part during that. That's just that wee break we had, so I can now do it when we open. What else did I do? Obviously, full body, back, neck, shoulders. It's a holistic massage I do rather than Swedish. So with Swedish, it's kind of you're in a routine and you kind of the routine of the body, whereas holistic, you're tuning into the person's energy and feeling what the body actually needs. So quite often you'll come and you won't get the same treatment twice because I'm going with what I'm feeling your body's needing and what your energy's.
It's the best way. Honestly, yeah. It is the best way to massage, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
This massage is too routined. It's like, aye, here we go again. I know where you're going, up and down, and holistic's so much better. Yeah,
definitely. I do a natural facelift. So that's helping get rid of these fine lines and wrinkles without obviously surgery. So it's a lot of circular movements and friction in the face to bring the blood flow up because it's full of oxygen and nutrients that we spoke about earlier, and just helps to give you that kind of glow again. And I do like a luxury facial, which is more kind of your exfoliating, your face mask, face massage, that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, it's full body works.
There's loads.
There is loads.
So there's all of that you do, as well as all of the stuff that you do, like your life coaching and your, you've got your chakra workshops as well, actually. So your introduction to the chakra workshops, which
a lot of people obviously are hearing the word chakra being used because if you do yoga, tai chi, meditation, it's Reiki, crystal healing, you're hearing this word, but a lot of people are like, well, what are they? What do they do? So I put together a wee workshop just to kind of break them down, explain what they are, how they work, what you might feel if it's imbalanced or if it's overactive, and how to kind of keep it balanced.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm running that again in the Sunday the 18th April? Yeah, 18th April, Sunday. So if people are interested, just get in touch. I can give you all the information about it.
Brilliant. So that's us nearly at an hour. We're at an hour already. That's crazy. Just blethered the pair of us for an hour. So if you are interested in any of Danielle's services, which I'm sure that you all will be, you can go over to Danielle's page, which is Luna Life and Wellbeing. please go and give her a like, give her a message, tell her how much you loved her surgery this morning and how much you'd love to take on one of her services. And I always say to people, like if we've got guests on like Danielle, just 10 people, if you guys were to invest in Danielle's business and you guys were to decide that you wanted to have one treatment from Danielle, that's helping Danielle to be able to pay the bills. It's helping Danielle to be able to give her children all the things that she wants to give her children. It's helping Danielle to be able to reinvest in her business and do so much more. So just 10 of you watching.
Yeah, you'll see me with my happy dance.
Yeah. It would make a huge big difference to people. And I know Danielle very well. I've worked with Danielle now for a couple of years, and I can tell you that she is what she says on the tin. She's like a tin of beans. On the inside, it's exactly what it says on the outside. And she's doing so much to help people. She's always got that mindset of like, what can I do to help you? So
no problems, just solutions.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Danielle, for today. You've got a few wee comments there, so I'm just going to say, Fee, I've completed Danielle's 6-week motivational coaching and can't praise it enough. It was life-changing for me, and my self-belief and self-worth is amazing now. I absolutely love that. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing, Fee. Rachel is saying there that thank you. I'm going to pop over to have a look at your page after this.
Thank you.
And our lovely Diane is saying, amazing, Danielle.
That's
so yeah, thank you very much, Danielle. And hopefully we'll see you doing amazing things over the next few weeks and getting your business back to where you want it to be. And
yes, definitely keep your eyes open, because I've got a few things that I'm working on, so hopefully they'll come out soon.
No, we're going to change that sentence. What's going to happen? You're working on a few things and
they will be here soon.
Believe it. You will achieve it, absolutely. So, Danielle, thank you so much. And everybody else, I will see you tomorrow. And tomorrow is, what day is tomorrow?
Thursday.
Oh my God. That's so bad. I can't even think of what day it is. It's terrible. See, all day yesterday, I thought it was Tuesday for the whole day.
I'm totally lost.
No, I thought it was Wednesday, sorry, and it was Tuesday. And I'm saying to our team, because we're doing a team training session, and I was like, guys, who's coming on at 6? And they were like, we've got it in for tomorrow, Stephen. I was like, no, it's today. Oh, shit, it's tomorrow.
I know. I think everybody's the same just now, aren't they? It's like...
I know. It's crazy. So, yeah, tomorrow we have got on the show... Who have we got on tomorrow? Tomorrow we've got a surprise. I don't know who we've got tomorrow, so I need to go and check the diary. Normally I've got it in my notes, but I'm a day behind and I've got Wednesday, Danielle, Thursday. I've not got anybody written down here, so it'll be in my diary. I'll let you know later on today who we've got tomorrow. But Danielle, thanks again for today.
Thank you.
Hang on for a wee minute and I will have a wee chat with you after, behind the scenes. But everybody else, see you all tomorrow. Strong.